on. Is it streaming right now? Yep, okay. On air. And then, well, that's okay. Done. Oh well. I'm trying to do something like on my computer where I could actually see the live chat because my normal setups kind of does whatever. But I think actually the purpose of this anyway, I'm not trying to talk to other people, but I'm just trying to make it's an easy way to make a YouTube video because this gets saved to my YouTube, and I can just sort of do a little bit of a informal tutorial, very, very informal tutorial for possibly new players, and then kind of make it like a question and answer to the best of my new 35 level abilities. But I don't know. I think it's just a good habit. Ah, well, it's the one where it's the clown, but it's just like he's dressed as an evil clown, and you know how I feel about evil clowns. Yeah, that's the thing with Chimera. They have like different colored skins. Um, yeah, there's just I wonder what his master skin looks like. Yeah, it's like a lava bird. Yeah, Chimera. I guess Chimera just doesn't have a lot of great skins. Yeah. Oh yeah, he has that Raven quill. Yeah. We'll just make this introductory. Okay, so I'll go ahead, and I think this first game we're not even going to try to do anything, and then I'll just exit and kind of quote surrender. But the idea is just I'm just gonna walk you around the map, and there's actually uh, yeah, because I think what I found for me personally, there was just a lot of stuff that I didn't know, even just being in the map. It's just kind of like being able to sort of like formally explain. Um, I'm gonna be a character that I never am because it doesn't really matter who I. Because he's intermediate. Um, so well, okay. I have like a lock thing. I have a locked thing on mine too. I think that just means his mastery's locked. But if you're not able to pick him, it has something to do with the mastery. Look at me, Crux. Just pick a different hero. Oh, press triangle. Yeah, it doesn't take very long to be able to unlock. They're just like, I mean, it's very easy to kind of unlock all the characters. It's just at the beginning they want you to pick like the easiest, and then it's like then holy Grux, bro. Ooh. So I've actually never played with the introductory decks. Like, did they? Oh, I think they sort of like kind of like, oh, here are the cards that you could use, but I guess once you get to a certain... Oh my gosh. They fixed his attack animation. It's okay. Alright, so... yeah. Alright. So... map is divided into two halves. Dawn half and dusk half. We're currently hanging out in the dawn half because it's all happy and not gloomy. Yeah. Plenty of shit to kill, that is for sure. See, this is one of the new buffs. I'm not entirely familiar with it, but you kill it and then you get like this Hawkeye buff that allows you to kind of see everything, and then you get like gold from killing these minions. I think it's just like you weren't killing things like fast enough, but that's okay because you'll get okay, so this is left lane. Typically, this is the position I like to play most as Greystone. It's usually a 2 versus 1 where the enemy carry and support will basically try to fight you. When you're playing off lane, you're going to have you're going to have more opportunities to gain experience. So eventually, you'll out level them. It won't be too much of an advantage, but it'll be enough to where you can kind of bully them and then pray to your jungler. That would be you just kind of jump in and sort of relieve the offlaner or put pressure on the lane or to get the kill that you need to get in order to force a back to delay the farm or something like that. You'll be picking on all the lanes. It just kind of depends on like what's going on in the mini map, like what would be a good one, and it's just like typically as an offlaner, I know that sometimes I could use some love. I sort of consider my tower to be my kitchen, where like I'm sort of like trying to soften up the enemy carrier support, trying to turn them into like eggs and bacon. Then hopefully you'll smell what I'm making and then you'll come in and get like a kill. That's usually an ideal situation. But if not, it's always acceptable to try to gank the mid lane or even safe lane, which is the right lane where our carry and support are beating up on the enemy offlaner. Alright. And then I'll just kind of go by lanes first, because I feel like that's always that's probably the best way to do it. Yeah. that'd be useful for sure. So this is mid lane. Mid lane is typically ideal for casters with high burst ability damage, and like burst is just like, you know, just like you get a chunk of health here, chunk of health there, and you just kind of burst them down pretty quickly. The reason why, because as RPGs and MOBAs tend to go, abilities use mana. So over here, past this fog wall, these clear walls, we can't see what's on the other side unless there's one of our guys. So, like, unless there's like one of our guys, or we placed a ward, which is just kind of like a 360 surveillance camera that can also detect cloaked enemies. So this right here is a river buff, and there's one on the other side too. If you go ahead and kill it, notice how that's a blue buff, and that makes you run faster, and it also restored your mana. It restores, I think, up to half of it. I think, like, it restores a pretty decent chunk. I don't know exactly how many. Oh, good example. Okay, over here, these are wards. This is one of ours. It's a shadow ward, so it's like all stealthy. And the reason why we can see it was because that's our team, but that's the enemy shadow ward that's being revealed by our shadow ward. And their shadow ward is revealing ours. So now the enemy won't be able to see our shadow ward. It's a 360. Yeah, it's just a 360 surveillance camera pretty much. So let's say we're kind of, you're mid lane, you're fighting, and then all of a sudden you notice on your mini map, you hear the ping that there's an enemy over here. And then you can kind of like act accordingly. Like, are you going to avoid those people, or are you just gonna kind of hang out or fight them or whatever? Basically, it just lets you know that enemies are coming, and that's useful because you see the shadow wall. You're not able to see through it immediately. Right. I think let's go to right lane now. So this is the right lane, otherwise known as the safe lane or the carry lane. And depending on what you play, if you're playing the carry, your object is to farm as many minions as possible. It's actually important to farm no matter what position you play, but it's the most important on the carry, because the carry's strength lies in how much gold they can accumulate. So sometimes the carry can, but typically, especially in the beginning of the game, I've seen most experienced carries just sort of hang out in the I've seen most carries just sort of like hang out in the right lane for a little bit and just farm the minions that come here. So like they'll be, let's come back over here. So like at the beginning of the game, the carry will just sort of like, if the carry feels like freezing the lane, the carry will just farm the minions slowly and just try to not actually let the lane progress, because they want to get farmed up. They want to get as much money as possible. That's kind of the typical strategy that I've seen players, like, I don't know, just more experienced players do when I watch streams. This right here is a gold buff. When you kill it, you get gold from it pretty much. So they spawn. They will spawn after the first 3 minutes of the game, and then they will spawn every odd minute after. So like at 3 minutes you get your first gold buff, at 5 minutes you get your second gold buff, and then you try to get as many of these as possible. I mean, they don't get, their importance kind of dies off as the game goes on. I think it's close to like it's like a couple hundred, I think. And then also, typically, the carry is going to be aided by a support, because carries are kind of like small and squishy and easy to kill early game. So the support will basically try to secure kills for the carry, try to help the carry escape when things get a little dicey, occasionally rotate to other lanes. Like if the carry is pretty safe, maybe the support will sometimes rotate and sort of like mess up whatever the enemy mid lane is trying to do and get a kill that way. I tended to be a little too ambitious, and I would try to like rotate all the way to left lane, but I don't know. Maybe in the beginning I wouldn't recommend that. Maybe just stay with your carry for a while, and then when you think, oh, I should probably rotate, if assuming you're playing support, go and rotate. And then now we'll get to jungling. Press down on your D-pad. Yeah. And whatever. Let's just do... Oh man, I didn't want that. Oh well. I'm gonna take Growth Totem. Okay, so, yeah, whatever. What else can I get? I can't get anything. Let's just do Exoskeleton. Nah. Demolitionist. Yeah. Yeah, you still have those stats. And then also when you discard those cards, you don't really like lose that card. You just, and you also get those points back to put into something else. It's, like, it's not really discard, but like you remove, because your cards, you can only have 3 cards in your hand at a time. So when you want to switch out your card, you just switch out your card, and then you get those points back. You get your attribute points back. Yeah, so yeah, you can have a... Oh, your deck only has 3 cards for total? Ah. Yeah, so you can switch those out as the game goes on, and then just what kind of strategy. So we're gonna take this jump pad. Ooh, nice animation. Do you have an animation? Hold your axes up. Alright. Yeah. Of course. So these gems, as you press your, whatever this middle thing is called, that's not your PS button, but like your, yeah, your little thumb thing. You have, on your left, you can use your D-pad to select the stats that you want to upgrade. And then on these stats, you notice that some of them have these gems. Well, as you upgrade your attribute points, like, where do you have your... Do you have, like, any level 1 gems? Yeah, that doesn't matter, but okay, so like each attribute point costs 1,000 gold. So, let's say I'm gonna guess, let's just try agility. Do you have any, you've purchased an agility point, right? And does that have like a gem in there? Like your level 1. Basically, it's like a passive upgrade, so like on mine. Yeah, what's going to be another gem. And then, yeah, they're like milestones that you select. So like I have a gem in my agility, and that level 1, like that first gem you unlock, it's called Jungle Assassin. So like my basic attacks deal 4.3 bonus damage to jungle minions. and then I have a level 1 gem in Vitality, which is called Quick Exit, which gives me 30% move speed when I leave the base. So that's kind of what the gems do. They're just kind of like passives that you get as you level up your yeah, that's, and you'll get to, when you build your decks, you'll get to pick what kind of gems you want. Just right now, the starter decks, they'll just kind of pre-select those gems for you. So I don't know how those I don't know how the starter decks selected your gems, but yeah, that's probably just the recommended build. Also, obviously you get like stats, so like when you pick agility, like it's going to increase your basic attack speed and your basic armor. And then when you pick vitality, it's gonna help your health and your health regen. And then I guess for intellect, it's going to do mana and mana regen. So that is all of that. So over here, yeah, that's fine. It's funny, like our team's like winning, and we're just kind of over here derping. So these are jungle minions. Obviously, you'll want to kill kill this camp, and then after the game's going to start, and there's only going to be one of these. There's going to be one of these big minions. So you'll kill the big minion, and then you'll go to the next big minion, and then kind of keep going in a circle for as long as your health can permit. So depending on the character, yeah, because you're going to be kind of weak to these jungle minions even, and it's going to be hard to get those kills, but you're going to want to kill these minions to the best of your ability. Chimera actually has a health regen ability that gives him a little bit of his health back as he kills minions. Oh, well, there we go. So what you're killing here is the green buff. So go ahead and keep attacking jungle minions, because it's an exploding shield. So like when that shield runs out, it will explode, and then not quite, and especially you're going faster, like you're clearing this, so like when you start a game as a jungler, I don't think it's going to be as fast. Then again, I haven't played much of V44, so it might be different. Alright, so as you clear out jungle camps, what you're going to want to think about is putting pressure on the enemy lanes, farming your jungle, and then there's also another section of jungle over here that you can farm, where we had that buff, that other buff that gave you vision and stuff. And then, yeah, that guy, so you have that to farm. And then, like, you have the option to farm these things, but that's funny. We just won. I made it like super easy. Like I have it on introductory. No, those were, yeah, yeah. Of course, they probably would have been able to, if it's like, it probably would have been the same thing if they were real players. I just don't want people asking like, hey, what are you doing? What's your deal? So I'll go ahead and start up another game, and then I'll kind of finish what I was talking about, and then we'll play one for real. Yeah, I can hear you. Alright. Gonna be Kalari. I have a comment. I'm not even able to see it. Oh well. Oh, the Holy Grux skin? One. Oh, it always starts you off with 1,000. So like the idea is like pick your first attribute point and that unlocks the gem that you might want to start with. And then it would also unlock. This unlocks. Yeah, you just get a complimentary complimentary 1,000. I need to scratch my ear. Okay. So let's go ahead. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Sorry, this is the first time I'd seen like Kalari do a flip. Flip through the air. Okay. So we'll just walk over to Fangtooth. I don't know. Oh, they just haven't spawned yet. I don't think. So this is the Fangtooth lair. Depending on whether... I think since we're playing bots, we're always going to start on the Dawn side. So that means Fangtooth is always going to be in the left lane, I guess. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. But Fangtooth spawns here. Fangtooth is like this giant raptor thing, which will spawn in about 15 seconds. So, shine. Oh yeah, that's Orb Prime. That's like the big mother bad boss. I think this is gonna kill us too. So like, let's just fight it. Let's see what happens. Oh, I think we can do it. Oh my gosh, we killed it. We actually killed it. I didn't think we would kill it so soon. That's awesome. Okay. So, killing Fangtooth, and this is like a recent, like I said, this is a recent thing, but it provides like permanent, it'll give us a permanent power boost, and then it will also give us gold the first time we kill it. And then the second time, I think there's like movement speed, and then the third time is like damage and stuff. Basically, killing this will give you permanent buffs for your entire team. So this makes it like a immediate point of contention. And it's actually really cool that we were able to kill it so soon, because that means we now know that... Yeah, actually, if you had enough health regen, like maybe like by level 2 or 3, you'd probably be able to solo that. Maybe. Because your health regen would outdo the damage that Fangtooth was doing to you. That's worth experimenting with for sure. And then over here is the Orb Prime Pit. If I'm still certain, the Orb Prime won't spawn until like 10 minutes into the game, but this is the thing that like kills you. So, killing the team that kills the Orb Prime will get a lot of cool buffs. Like, if they stay near their minions are going to be stronger and stay alive longer, so that it makes pushing lanes a lot easier. While the Orb Prime buff is active, and also the buff is temporary, but while the Orb Prime buff is active, all the players on the team will get like increased health regeneration. So let's say we're like kind of trying to siege an inhibitor, which are you have the towers. So you have the tier 1 tower here. After that's the tier 2 tower, and then after the tier 2 tower is the inhibitor, and that leads straight to the core. So like what this will enable us to do, the Orb Prime buff is, we'll kind of like stay and sort of like fight the enemy, and then we'll back out, and then we'll get like health. So like the Orb Prime buff just enables us to siege a tower and try to get kills a lot better. So that's kind of, I think that's kind of, that might be all the basic stuff, I think. So maybe you just want to try to play this game through and see what happens. I guess I'll be off lane, and then you'll be jungle, and just kill jungle minions, and then whenever you feel ready... Actually, let's go get Fangtooth again, since he spawned, and since we did well last time. I wonder if he's stronger every time. I don't think so, because... Also, something to consider, since we're on introductory, maybe the Fangtooth is just easier. Like, we'll have to, like, try it in, like, other modes to see what it's like. So, but we managed to kill Fangtooth twice, so that's fun. Yeah, let's sandbox it now. So, judging by the mini-map, you're in the enemy jungle, which is a good tactic. Just be careful, because you could always get killed. But whenever you're able to, it's good to raid the enemy jungle. Like, try to steal their green buff. Yeah, deprive them of their minions, steal their green buff, and a good way to steal their green buff would actually just be to kill the green buff, but not the minions. Because if you manage to do that, the... oh, sorry. I'm losing my train of thought. If you manage to kill their green buff, but not the minions, the green ogre guy, but if you kill the green buff only, it's not going to respawn right away, and the enemy team has to kill the minions first. So basically, it takes longer for them to get their green buff back, and the cooldown time for green buff is actually pretty annoying. So, like, you can deny them their green buff. Stop running! You need to unlock them, I think. How's your mana? Mana was full. Weird. Yeah, because I can't see your screen, I don't know exactly what's going on with that either. Yeah. Yeah, that's really weird.
An enemy tower is under attack.
Yeah, I can't, at the moment I can't think of why that is. I wonder. Well, I can still use my moves when I do that. Nope, I can still do that. No, there shouldn't be. I wonder if it's giving you a reason. Okay. It's also possible that could be a glitch. Like, yeah, Epic, like, the game suffers from a lot of weird stuff like that, unfortunately. That is strange. Aww. Yeah. Back in the day, you could basically solo Orb Prime with Chimera. Like, you could solo him, but they made it that's the whole reason. Like, it's because of that.
Enemy inhibitor is under siege.
No. But yeah, like, so another thing that, this will be important, especially in solo queue, is knowing how pings work. So when you press right on your directional pad, you're gonna kind of have like these boxes pop up, and it's all going to be kind of like a path. So you could press triangle for attack, and then you could press where, and then so like you could do square for left, triangle for mid, and circle for right, or you can press X for camps, and then it'll give you another option. So like you can pick Fangtooth, Gold Camp, River Camp, or Prime. So like I just pinged let's attack River Camp, or have someone attack River Camp, or attack camps Gold Camp, attack camps Orb Prime. They all take a little bit of time to memorize, but it gets better. Your speed gets better. I think pinging's actually better on PlayStation 4 than it is like on PC. Or you could do like alert, enemies missing left, to let you know, to let the team know that's like, hey, these enemies have left. They're not in left lane anymore. They've moved somewhere else. Be careful mid, be careful right, just be careful everyone. Just expect an attack. Or alert, on my way left, just to let you know. This would be very good as a jungler. So like you could tell your team that you're on your way to middle, or on your way to right, or somebody says attack middle lane, and then you could say alert, on my way, and just say I'm just on my way. So it depends on how long the game goes. It really just depends on how long the game goes. Trying to think.
The enemy core is under attack.
Yeah, it just depends on how long the game goes. Online games can go anywhere between 25 minutes. I think they kind of stay comfortably at 25 minutes right now. I'm sorry. Could you say that again?
Enemy inhibitor is under siege. The enemy core is
I would say the most important thing as a jungler is just to put pressure on enemy lanes, and then just kind of be there to defend the lane if necessary. Like, it's pretty fluid and dynamic, actually. Like, sometimes you'll be of use as long as you put enough pressure on enemies. Probably as Chimera, early game kills would be better for you, and then maybe as you progress through the match, Chimera's usefulness in getting kills might drop off, and then he might be there. He might be useful to slow enemies, or just kind of like be an annoyance or be a tank because of his health regen. He'll probably help push lanes. Um, oh, I also need to mention when an inhibitor goes down, super minions spawn against the. It's just like you don't want to lose an inhibitor because you'll have super minions coming down that lane. So super minions are like there were these big Triton minion looking things over here. They're just super and beefy and they have a lot of health and it's just a lot more difficult to take down. I would say the weirdest challenge that you might have starting out as a jungler is that you'll be kind of used to free roaming and laning might be a little bit of a weird thing for you. So I would kind of supplement, like I would pick like another, like either off lane or mid lane or even carry to just sort of help understand like what it means to hold a lane, to kind of fight with another enemy player or enemy players. In that regard, I feel like mid lane might be a good fit for that because it's a 1v1 situation. The only thing you have to worry about is ganks from the enemy jungler. And then you might also like learn kind of like some basic rotation yourself. Like you might notice, hey, my off laner could use some help. My jungler is farming or helping the safe lane, so I'm going to go and like, for example, like one of my early games as Gideon, I noticed that the enemy team was like pushing like really, really up towards the tower. So I figured, okay, would be a great opportunity for me as Gideon to move up along, and then I'll use my black hole to kind of hold them there while my offlaner gets some kills. And that went really well as Gideon. Yeah, in fact, I think that's what I might try this game. I think I might either do Gideon or Iggy and Scorch. No, I'm going to do Gideon. Let's go ahead and I think it might depend on the skin because sometimes they're not always available. Like they'll go in and out of availability, or they might just be like part of the master skin trials, or not trials, but basically, you know, like as you like play with a hero, like you'll get experience and I think they're called coins. Yeah, coins. Yeah, but in very limited quantities. Yeah, it can take a little while though. Like I have 325 coins right now. And some of these skins cost like 500, and then the really cool ones like Novaborn Greystone, which I actually have one of those. Will cost like 1,000, or like this Rogue Kalaria is 1,200. Um, that's correct. But I actually have some pretty good skins. Like I have some, like I've just gotten really good skins just by chance. I think I saved up enough to get the Greystone Novaborn but I think I got this White Tiger Greystone for like a discount, and then I got a legendary Iggy and Scorch skin. I have a legendary Murdoch skin. Like I have the pink robot Iggy and Scorch skin, which when I got that I was like, oh well, I need to play Iggy and Scorch now because like I'm a shiny pink robot guy. So like no, I'm a shiny pink robot riding another shiny pink robot, and it's just happy fun days. And then like this Murdoch skin, I'm like a freaking badass lizard thing. I look like the thing from Mass Effect. Like one of the things from Mass Effect, like had a baby with a jackal and an elite from Halo. Look at this. I don't know. It's really bad, goofy thing. So, like, mm-hmm. Um, go ahead and go to Heroes. It's going to be under your collection tab, and then it's going to be like a sub tab that shows up. And then if you highlight that hero, um, I guess here's what. And the thing is, it's going to be kind of sucky that you're going to have to kind of build up kind of stuff. So like I have Greystone highlighted on mine because he's like the top left. I guess it's like my mastery. So like Greystone's like my. Okay, so I'll go to my Chimera. So what comes up is you have your Chimera, you have your mastery rank, and then you have this little blue bar that says jungle. So like Chimera is supposed to be played in the jungle, and then you have like these kind of stats, which like his basic attack is 6, his ability power is 4, his durability is 7, his mobility is 4. So like what that tells you is that like he'll have pretty good attack. He'll have decent ability power. His durability is going to be his main strong suit, and his mobility is 4. Otherwise, just kind of looking at this, Chimera seems just to be like a well-rounded character. I'm actually going to rotate over to Countess here. Yeah, sometimes, actually, some people have played, and honestly, some of these are pretty arbitrary. It's just going to be like what Epic thinks, but I've seen Chimera occasionally played in the off lane because of some of his abilities. So go ahead and like click in on Chimera and then press R1 to look at his abilities. Also, you get like this nice background. Like he dwelled in the jungle alone since the age of 13, has been worshipped as a vengeful nature god, and he does not speak unless he must. That's always fun. Got some lore. So like this will show you like his real name's Tom from MySpace. Chimera is Tom from MySpace. That is our takeaway from tonight. That is the most important thing. Tom from MySpace just got sick of technology, and because Facebook like kicked him in the gut when it came to social media, and he decided, I'm gonna live in the wild, and I'm gonna be this crazy dude, this crazy badass creature guy. And we figured out the story of Chimera. So like if you like highlight their abilities, it's going to kind of tell you some like basic things, like his basic attack is going to be doing like 59.4 basic damage. Um, Ambush leaps on a target hero, dealing 70 ability damage and applying a 30% movement speed slow to the enemy hero. And then he is also granted 3 stacks of spirit regeneration upon activation. Um, yeah, ambush only works on enemy heroes. And then spirit regeneration, if you go down like a couple abilities, it will like kind of show you. Spirit regeneration is a passive that boosts Chimera's health regen by 0.9% for 2 seconds. Each time he lands a hack, ambush, or cull on the enemy, this effect stacks, increases in effectiveness each time the ability is leveled up. So basically, his spirit regeneration just comes from all of his other abilities, and it's like if you're a numbers person, it's like 0.9 for 2 seconds. So that could be like if you were like super like wanting to examine that further and like test the limits of that ability, or you could just watch like other people play Chimera. Like I could actually show you a streamer who loves playing Chimera. His name's Britick, and he likes playing him a lot, um, as well as other junglers. But so basically, anyway, what I'm trying to get to, the big picture here is when it comes to building decks, what you're gonna want to look at first is are his basic stats, so like his kind of like overall stats, and then his abilities, and then just sort of like pick which cards will complement his abilities or his stats and his role. So anything that will make Chimera, um, anything that will like highlight certain points of like Chimera's strengths, or maybe like you could build a deck to kind of cover up some of his weaknesses. Um, so, for example, Chimera, since he had, oh, you could actually probably the meta right now. There are going to be actually plenty of good cards for Chimera in the growth, like maybe Exoskeleton or Coin Master, which will give like Coin Master will give like bonus gold. Maybe Exoskeleton wouldn't be a good early game card because Chimera has that early game health regeneration. But the main card I'm gonna go to right now is um I believe it's still pretty overpowered. I need to figure out if that's the case, but Growth Totem. Um, Pretty much, and it's almost getting to the point where like Epic is receiving a lot of criticism for it. I'll actually ask about it in a Facebook group tomorrow. But is Growth Totem still like super powerful? I haven't really been paying attention to the patch notes because I haven't played a whole lot this month. But what Growth Totem does is you want to equip this card as early as possible. Growth cards have a ability, or growth cards have like this. I guess I'll call it ability, but it's not really an ability. It's like an, not even an attribute. It's property, I guess. Um, each affinity has like their own like special thing. Growth is going to have its special thing called cultivate, which means there's going to be an initial gold cost up front. So like growth totem is going to cost 4,500 gold up front. But as you buy attribute points, that cost is going to go down. So by 500 every time you buy an attribute point. So if you buy enough attribute points, eventually growth totem will just be free. But the reason why you want to get growth cards like growth totem soon is because you'll gain zero point 0.7 power and 20 max health every minute, and there's no limit to it. So the longer the game goes, the more power and health you're going to get. Now, you're not going to want to ever unequip this card, because if you do, you lose all of those effects. But it's just something that's constantly giving you health, something that's constantly giving you power. And that's pretty much good for all heroes, because power is going to like affect damage. This is going to make me sound stupid. I don't know exactly how power comes into play. I think it's kind of like a little bit of a boost to I think it's just like a little boost to like your damage output. At the very least, I think that's what power will do, because that's what it did pre 42, pre new card system. And then there are some like Flame Ejection is good against like minions. So like they'll be good against all minions, whether it be like super minions, like if you want to try to like maybe clear super minions quicker, or minions like Orb Prime or Fangtooth. Like you can use Flame Ejection on those. It doesn't give you a whole lot of like personal like stat boosts, but what it does might be interesting for you. Or maybe you might want to go for some passive health regeneration, but maybe probably not. I wouldn't go for that, because if you wanted like health regeneration, you could just go beat up on minions and receive health that way. Um, let's see. Yeah, you get the attributes. Actually, a card that might be interesting on Chimera would be Vital Waters. Um, Reason being is because it has a stat called Amplified Healing. It increases all the healing effects cast and received by 10%. So like you have like this passive health regen, and then all that's like increased by like 10%. So like as you're getting those stacks, that might be worth using. Another growth card called Thunder Cleaver. Chimera has some cleave damage, so cleave damage is just like you'll do damage directly to one target and then just like a couple targets on the side of that. Thunder Cleaver will sort of make that side damage a little bit more potent, so you can just kind of clear enemy waves a little bit quicker. Unbroken Spirit is a good card for tanks, because whenever you're hit with hard crowd control, it's going to heal. It's going to heal your health back. So like you have Unbroken Spirit against an Aurora, which is like that Ice Queen, like Elsa from Frozen, but with a sword. She'll come after you and she'll like unleash everything she has on you, because like Aurora's like a lot of like CC. She has this kind of circular spiky ice thing that comes from her, and then that's going to heal you because of this Unbroken Spirit card. And then she's going to use her ultimate, which also is a card that is considered hard crowd control, and then that's just going to you're gonna basically soak up a lot of that damage, because she's just hitting you with it. So like let's say you have like an Aurora and a Steel, and they're just pounding on you with their hard CC, and it's just not going to do as much because you have this Unbroken Spirit card on you. Another good growth card that might be good for Chimera, One of the Tribe, which gives you 15 power to each of your nearby allied heroes. So, I mean, growth isn't bad for Chimera. Neither is Death. Death is a good affinity I don't do a lot of death cards. I don't do a lot of like death stuff, but I try to. Yeah, I do a little bit here and there. Like guard piercer is going to increase your armor penetration. Um, numbing rogue might be good on tanks because it has it gives you health and basic armor. Oh yeah, that would be pretty good on Chimera actually. Numbing rogue, because it will give you health. That's gonna give you health and basic armor, and like it will have nearby enemy units have their attack speed slowed by 20%. Like that'll be definitely interesting. Or like people like to use Withering Shadow. I don't know. It's never really. Um, oh, that's kind of why, because it deals 55 ability damage to yourself, but you're regenerating health with each hit. So like let's say you get into a conflict and then you have this activated Withering Shadow against your enemies, and then you're just dealing like you toggle it, you turn it, you switch it on, and then you're attacking and you're healing because of the damage that you're doing, and then you're also doing ability damage on top of that. So like that might be a good card for a Chimera. Or let's look at, yeah, Trapper. Actually, you know what? That might, since Chimera already sort of has, I mean, it would definitely help. Like it would definitely like make his strengths like even stronger, and then that 32 attack speed is beneficial. Um, yeah, and then so like you use your like if you wanted to like, it's gonna, that would be like kind of like a pretty good troll build, because let's say you use your ambush and then you kind of slow, and then like he slowed for a little bit, and then you use your whatever the ability is that like makes you hit like really really quickly, and then it's gonna like keep slowing him, and then you might be able to get like a successful root off that, and then it's just like root for like 1 second, so that could be fun. And then there's just a bunch of like cards like in chaos, like demolitionist. Okay, so here's like what I was gonna get to. So for like an early game combination, what you could do is, since you have health regen, why not go damage for like farming minions? So like you have your chaos cards, and then you pick demolitionist to deal 12 bonus damage to minions and structures, and then bonus damage is reduced to 8 if attack is ranged. But Chimera is a melee character, so that's not a problem. So you could do early game, if you want to focus on like farming minions, you want to kill them faster. So that's what Demolitionist is for. And then there are other cards, like some cards in the Chaos Affinity will make you move faster. Another card like Living Guardian will give you stacks of armor that will that you can get stacks for every time you make an attack on your enemies. Profiteer will is a another Profiteer is another one of those thing cards. So in the Chaos Affinity, they have like the combustible property, which means if you die with a combustible card in your hand, it's unequipped on death. And typically these combustible cards are going to cost gold. So basically when this card is unequipped, you're out like that much gold. So let's say you have like this card called Profiteer in your hand, and you don't get a whole lot of minion kills with it. Like let's say you equip Profiteer for 2400 gold, and then you kind of walk into an ambush and then you die with that card. That card gets unequipped, and you'll have to pay another 2400 to get it equipped. So the idea is it's a high risk, high reward type of deal that they're trying to make you do. And then yeah, I could. um, because you're building like minions. Although I would say maybe because getting gold is always a good thing. Um, so like if you think, oh, I just need more and more gold, yeah, that'll be pretty good. Especially if like you're just focused on farming for a time. Although you'd have to kill quite a few minions to kind of make that investment back, so you'd have to consider that. So like um, that could be if you're gonna be farming, that's cool. If you're gonna be ganking, that's probably not going to be as cool. And just it's kind of a again, it's like a risk and reward type of thing, and you'll have to kind of experiment to see if like this profiteer card ends up being useful. Um, and then another one of these Hellfire Engine is a combustible card that costs 7,000, and that gives you 100 extra basic damage. Another good rage or chaos card on Chimera is Thorned Yomi, which is return 65% of damage taken. Oh, yeah, that would be good on Grux. Awesome. For um, kind of the thing is like one of the things that everyone's complaining about right now is that like how Grux is like this super beast because of his rework. He has like a couple new abilities, and his ultimate, instead of like doing like a group stun for a couple seconds, it just like super like just gives him like steroids, and like he's like able just to go ham, and then with the right cards he's like doing like 3k damage in the right circumstances. So people are just like, oh my gosh, Grux is overpowered, and I'm just like, I need to play him to see this for myself. Although because everybody wants to play Grux, that means everybody wants to play Grux, which means I'm gonna have trouble playing Grux because I'm always kind and I want to fill in the roles that like everybody else doesn't, because I don't want to cause contention. Anyway, Thorned Yomi, 65% of damage taken for 4 seconds. That's pretty good because like let's say you have a Grux on you and you're Chimera and you're a tanky Chimera, so like you can kind of take all these hits and then use Thorned Yomi, and then you're just the all that stuff, all that damage that Grux does is brought back to you. Like there's a hero called Countess who kind of works in a similar way. Like she has like really tough, crazy ability damage, and like her ultimate is she's like a crazy vampire person, and she'll like stare you down, and then like she'll stab you with her swords. Well, if you have like enough damage return, and like if you have like Thorn Yomi on, and then you use it at the right time, and then she attacks you, she might kill herself because the damage that she has done is more than she can take. I've seen videos on Facebook groups where like Countess does that. And then yeah, there's just a lot of when you get a chance to look at all the cards, there's like all these like sparks that like go off in your head. Like ideally, like that was one of the coolest things about V42 coming out. Unfortunately, some of the cards, because this is a relatively new system, some of the cards are super broken. Like Growth Totem was, I think Growth Totem, I'll still have to look, but I think everybody's too busy complaining about Grux right now. Um, Growth Totem is like super powerful. For a while, Unstable Cyborg was super powerful, which was like burst ability damage that um, would happen every time you took damage. So like Unstable Cyborg was like good on tank characters, and Chimera is like an ambushy tank type person because of his regen, and you can add all sorts of stuff to make him stronger. So like Unstable Cyborg, I think Unstable Cyborg might still be a good card for Chimera. It's just not as super like overpowered as it once was. Um, so there are still a lot of kinks that Epic needs to work out for sure. But I don't know. Um, so to be honest, leveling doesn't really account for much until you get into, well, it's like player versus environment, so it's PvE stuff. It's not going to be useful in PvP. The only thing leveling up your cards, really, the only thing you'll get from it is you'll just get like shiny borders around your cards. Only in player versus environment, so only in PvE. But it just makes your cards look cooler. So like, I have this green screen or green spring, gosh, and I'm gonna click level up, and then I'm going to press square, and then I have a silver border, and then I'm gonna level up. I'm gonna level up again for 6,000, whatever, and then it's level 3, and then level 4. And this is like a slightly better looking card, and then in, okay, here we go. Yeah. So in PvP, cards are capped at level 1, but retain their visual splendor. And for some reason, visual splendor is one word. That's funny. So, visual splendor. I'm gonna look that up in the dictionary. So, those are all the cards. Alright, so how would you feel about playing one more quick match? Let's make it 2, and then I'm gonna go to bed. I think I'm going to try out Gideon. I mean, I have to. Like, he's gotten such a cool... If I could find him. Where you at, buddy? There you are. I'm gonna pick the middle lane. I'm gonna be purple. This. Do I want purple? Well, it's too late. I'm purple. I am purple Gideon. No, typically, like, you know, like MOBAs, like in Dota 2, like they just have like that same map. Like it depends on the MOBA. Actually, some history. Paragon used to have a much different map. Like so much different. And then they changed it. Like, they changed it, like, completely. Like, they basically threw their old map out, and then they created this one. And also, this map didn't used to be so visually appealing. Yeah. Void Breach. Alright, so... Be free, Chimera. Jungle. It's typically in the right jungle. So, like... I wish I could ping. I wish I could say attack like green buff or something. Did I? What did I pick? Oh, I picked Portal Blast. No.
Your skill and enemy tower is under attack.
Uh,
Allied tower is under attack.
I didn't hear that. What was that?
Allied tower is under attack.
Only when you want to buy cards. Yeah, yeah, go ahead and buy those, because if you can have like up to 3 cards in your deck, go ahead and take advantage of that. If you have the attribute points, and you can always buy those. Yeah. Yeah, definitely use your discretion.
Enemy has been slain.
Yeah, it would be.
An enemy tower is under attack.
No, that's not me. I'm
Killing spree.
just hanging out in the middle. So a couple,
An enemy tower is under attack.
key things. Last hitting has become so much easier. Let's see if we can get this gadget together. There we go. So when you last hit, you want to make sure you get the last hits on minions, because that gives you extra gold and experience. And when you know, they made it like super easy to do this now. But how you know when you're able to last hit a minion is when their health bar grows red. Yeah, actually the decision to do this has gotten a lot of flack from like the more hardcore MOBA community, because they're like, oh, you're just dumbing down Paragon now. But honestly, I'm not complaining, because maybe I'm not that good, but I like how comfortable last hitting feels. So I know I'm posting this in a YouTube video where I'm trying to teach how to play the game, and I'm just saying, I like that they made it like almost really 6. Alright. Alert. On my way, left lane, because I see a pretty interesting opportunity to try to gank Twin Blast. I am stealthed. I am... Oh my gosh. New Gideon is great. I like it.
Enemy tower is under attack.
Yeah. Oh, I had to try it. I had to try him out. Alright. You got her.
Enemy has been slain.
Alright.
Dominating. Enemy tower is under attack.
Oh my gosh. I'm not good at this game.
Skill rises.
Really glad I kept. Alright, so torrent space is L1. Alright.
Killing spree.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if like Epic at one point made like last hitting a little bit harder. I mean, it feels so good how easy it is, but at the same time, like I can see why people are like, oh my gosh, it's being dumbed down. But here, good job. Yeah. Oh, also, yeah. Obviously, I think you might have noticed, but when you go back to base, it like completely heals you, or like super makes your regen much faster. Yeah, you just like put it back. Yeah, I liked it a lot more than Smite for sure. I cannot. Well, the thing about my problem with Smite was just like, for some reason, the item shops are like super like intimidating on like most of these MOBAs, and like, I don't know. Oh, kind of did damage. Okay. Let's go see if there's anything else we can buy. I guess I can't. I don't think I need to. Oh yeah, go it up. I mean, sometimes it's good. It's gonna be weird mixed. Well, I'm not that super high in my MMR. I'm like in mid silver at least. But and that's according to like the Agora.gg, which is like the third party ranking site. Because basically what you do is that you give the website permission to kind of look and see your win-loss ratio and stuff, and that's okay. Like, I think as we'll play like veteran, and then, because that might be like the most, like veterans actually, like veteran bots are actually, they're pretty good. They're a good kind of test, especially for like decks and stuff, or like certain play styles, because they actually kind of rotate, and they're pretty, they have a bite to them, the veteran. Like, I actually lost a game to them last night. I was super embarrassed because I was streaming too. I was like, ah, crap. Yeah, I lost against the veteran bots, which is like something that like I never done. Like, I'm playing like them by myself, and I'm kind of derping around, but still, like, I was like, I should not have lost this. Oh my gosh. I got fried. Yeah, you get that cool exploding animation. But yeah, I like this, like, I like this game better than Smite or any of the other MOBAs I've played. So, oh yeah, you can't really, and that's the other thing. I think that's part of the reason. That's one of the things that a lot of other MOBA players are having trouble adjusting with. Like, even like the players who like spend a lot of time playing Paragon, like a lot of streamers and competitive players, well, at least the few that I know of, like Another Notch and Britick, they're all like, we can't go taking away the difficulty of Paragon and dumbing it down. But the thing is, it's like it's not like that top down perspective MOBA. Like it's a MOBA, but it's a different MOBA. So sometimes making it a little bit easier to get last hits might be a little bit more important because it's not as like you actually have to aim with a reticle rather than like using the mouse. And yeah, I know timing's a big deal, and maybe there are ways that like Epic can make it a little bit harder. I do agree that it needs to be harder than I think it could benefit from last hitting, because last hitting is like a huge mechanic in MOBAs. Like in other MOBAs, like you need to last hit to get gold, and the whole point of MOBAs is to like mine more resources than the enemy. Like rooted in that it's rooted in that whole real time strategy concept. Mine more than the enemy team, and you'll eventually win because you have more resources to spend. Um, so, but I feel like because Paragon's trying to be different, it has to kind of branch off and like try things differently than other MOBAs. And I mean, one of the things about the community that it's kind of stupid. Like I wouldn't spend too much time in like Reddit or the Facebook groups if you want to avoid like stupid toxic stuff, but like people are like, "Oh my gosh, Paragon's dying because of this or that." And I don't I don't see that happening. I think it sometimes it'll go through like rough patches here and there, and I think people just need to let Paragon sort of be what it is for now. And I understand like people are like super nostalgic for like all the good things in Paragon. Like people want the original legacy map back. Some people want the old card system map back. Other people want like the Amber Link back, which was this mechanic in the jungle. So like what the Amber Link was when you would play Chimera, you would go in the jungle and you would have to farm because farming benefits your entire team. Like farming the jungle minions. Farming the jungle minions benefits your entire team because it fills something up called the Amber Link. And then every few minutes, depending on how well you filled up this Amber Link, it will distribute points to, or distribute coins to your whole entire team. And that was kind of like the thing. And then Epic sort of decided this mechanic is unique to Paragon, but we don't think it's that compelling because they just players don't seem to notice it's there. It's kind of complicated and it takes some learning. So I think what the conflict that Epic Games is trying to address is like how can we make our game approachable and still be challenging and still have like a high level reward for playing the game. And some of the I mean the player base is still like super dedicated, even like the players who are like super skeptical of it, like players like another Notch or um Britick. And I don't know for sure, and because the game's in a beta, uh it's it's a beta and it's also not being advertised. That's a big thing because Epic's not advertising Paragon. It's like word of mouth and just like people who happen to discover it. And you saw it available at Walmart where you could like buy like the disc, and like you can get like all this special extra content for those who want to support the game. But they're not doing a whole lot in advertising it, and they've done like their first big exhibition tournament right before the release of version 42. Like they've done a little bit, and that's okay. And I mean that's okay because they don't want to like completely ship it until they know this is where it needs to be. Um, but there are a lot of things that the community is still doing that shows that they still really love the game, like the Paragon Competitive League is a completely community run event. Like it's how we were able to do the exhibition tournament that we had because the Paragon Competitive League did like Epic Games reached out to them to like set up the whole qualifiers. So like they had like a series of tournaments leading up to like the big tournament in at Epic headquarters, and the winner of the I think the winning team got to split like $30,000 five ways or something. Like it was like I mean it's obviously nothing big as far as like normal like the big leagues like League of Legends. Um, sure. Yeah. Heroes. Karari. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, the Rogue Kalari. Correct, yeah. Yes. I don't know. Do we have this? Uh, it's either they're either there or they're just not available. I don't know. I guess the only way to really know if you like have them. Yeah, now that I think about it, I don't really see like a way to like tell. Okay, so maybe let's be a little nitpicky here. There's no real, I guess, skin variations. Okay. Rival Greystone. Okay. So. Huh. Oh, yeah, he has that Iron Man skin. And he's got like a laser sword and like a laser shield. It's great. I think Greystone needs like an epic beard though. I need a character with like a super epic beard. I mean Feng Mao has a beard, but that's like oh my gosh, he does. Oh my gosh, Narbash has a beard. Okay. Well, shows how much I pay attention. Honestly, if I were to get a tattoo of any Paragon character, I think I would get a Narbash tattoo somewhere on my body. I play him. No, I didn't, but I was kind of derping around. I wanted to play characters that I mean, not a lot of new things has been happening with Narbash, so but he, yeah, Severog. Oh, okay. So that's actually part of his ability mechanic. So he looks robed at first, but he has an ability called Siphon. And what's his difficulty? Alright, Sevarog is still expert. Like, I think he's always been kind of an expert. He's kind of a harder hero to play, which is why I haven't played him yet. But no, but I know enough of his. I've seen enough people play him that I know his mechanics. So what? The whole thing that's surrounding Sevarog is he actually kind of starts off as kind of a weak jungler, but he has this ability called Siphon, and if you kind of notice, the symbol for Siphon is kind of like sort of like spiky shoulder pad type stuff. So basically, Sevarog gains soul stacks for killing minions and heroes with any ability. He gains one soul stack. He gains basically whenever he kills people with his siphon ability, he'll gain these soul stacks. And then each of these soul stacks will give Sevarog +3 health, and then will add one ability damage to his siphon attack. So basically, and then uh, as you level up his siphon, it will give you more health and uh, ability damage as you get like more soul stacks. Oh, I'm gonna scratch my eye. Ugh. So, but eventually, as he gets these stacks, his pauldrons will get bigger and more menacing, and he'll just look tougher and stronger. Actually, the stacks don't fall off; they stay on for the duration of the yeah. I think the max stack is. I think there is, but I think it stops at like 125 maybe. That might be an outdated number. Or that might be the current number. I don't remember. But yeah, a lot of like Sevarog's abilities kind of like surround this siphon. Then he also has like this Phantom Rush, and he has this root that kind of falls from the sky, and then his ultimate, which has a 30-second cooldown, by the way. But it's just like a big hammer swing, and it will knock back enemy heroes. So like you could do like a thing where like you could knock enemy heroes into um, danger, like, knock them away to give your allies some space. Um, Knock them into your subjugate. So like you knock them in, then you root them, and then you hammer them, and then you siphon, and then you get the kill. Yeah, like Sevarog's he's a mean mofo, mean floating mummified. Oh yeah, I see him. Well, maybe not when I play, but he's certainly popular with uh, the girls and the competitive players and just other people in the jungle. I could always go either or, and especially in the MMR bracket I am in, he could either be it could be somebody who knows what he's doing, or he could just be like a he just be a normal casual player who's just like, I think I'm gonna do well, but I don't always. And sometimes players do well. He gets super tanky, like super super tanky. Like he can take a lot. Like if he comes online, he can take a lot of damage. Expert, yeah, yeah, yeah. Expert being the hardest. Yeah. Oh, that makes me feel good because I like to play Narbash. Like I like to play. Yeah, Nightmash is advanced. Maybe I'm just maybe that explains why I'm not always great with him. Yeah, it's probably arbitrary. Yeah, like FaZe was like supposed to be like advanced, and then she went to easy. What's Shinbi right now? Like I think Shinbi. Oh, Shinbi's expert. She's still expert. I don't remember what Wraith was. Um. Okay, Steel. Steel used to be easy, but now he's expert. Yeah, Gideon. I think Gideon's supposed to be easy. What did they make Gideon? Oh, well then he's easy. Oh, and like Lieutenant Bellica. Lieutenant Bellica used to be advanced. Now she's easy. Kalari's still expert. Hauser, I think that's always been advanced. Grim. Morigesh will always be easy. Morigesh is like the easiest of the easies. Yeah. I think he's always been intermediate. Murdoch's easy. Gadget's easy. Rampage is advanced. See, back in the day when I started playing, Rampage was easy. And that actually like misled me hardcore and led me to like probably one of my most toxic experiences. I'm giving a monocle right now on my screen. That's pretty nice. But oops. Um yeah. Well, I played Rampage and I played him poorly, like super poorly. And then like members on my team was like, "Rampage, please delete do yourself a favor, do us all a favor and delete your game." I was like, "Oh man." Yeah, yeah, people are like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I have the highest win rate with Grux. Granted, I haven't been playing. I guess that does. I guess I don't have a high win rate with Greystone, which I'm also giving a monocle currently. Yeah, she's like a Katniss Everdeen. She's like, well, she's actually more like a Robin Hood. Yeah, I got it from a map. Okay, so Rogue Scarrow, Autumn Fire. Oh, that's very Hunger Games, kind of. Um, I got the skin, so I have the Cobalt Rogue Sparrow that I found in a loot crate, and that's why Sparrow was my carry for a little while, because I'm like, oh, I need to be Sparrow because I look like a Cobalt Robin Hood, and that's why I picked her. The Royal Garb. Which one is that? Ah, yeah. Yeah, blue one's groovy. And then you got like this tribal one. Zexion Huntress. Looks like very Horizon Zero Dawnish. And then, yeah. The Fae? Probably more like. Yeah, I guess. But she's like a weird fairy person, so like she almost doesn't count. Yeah, in those common I like in bots, like she'll be played as support, but yeah, she's mostly played in the mid lane. She could go either way because her kit is so good for a lot of these things. Like, she can either do damage with like um, uh, her kind of like untamed growth plant bomb, or she could slow with her bramble patch, and that's good for mid lane and support. And her harvest nettles is like a long range projectile that could also do. Um. Oh wow. Well, that it is a PS4 crossover. She does kind of look like a Spartan, kind of. All right. No, you'll get them from chests. Yeah, you just gotta play and then you'll get them. Alright. Any rate, I need to go to bed. But, because I gotta be at work at 8 tomorrow. Anyway, that's the end of the YouTube. Oh, do you still have to get your vaccine shot? Yeah, I got mine. I got mine at the benefit fair. We work together, YouTube. Okay. Anyway, have a good one, friend, and have a good one, friends on the YouTube.